Welcome back to Season 4, Episode 11 of T-Dub, where everyone's a sports expert.
The podcast that makes you care about sports, including President Connolly.
We are an original podcast created and produced by Long Beach State student-run newspaper, The Long Beach Current. I'm your host, Maddie C.
I'm Maddie G.
And today, we got our very own Long Beach Current sports assistant, Jack Haslett. Thank you for being here.
Of course. Thank you guys for having me. Sorry.
And today, it's a rather somber day. It's been a really tough week for a lot of us, as we all hate the Dodgers, and it feels like the end of an era. It feels like the end of the Mickey Mouse era. We can't...
It's true.
Yeah, there's not a lot to say, other than it only took $1.2 billion, but they got things done. They were the lesser of the two teams that choked, because Game 5 was pretty atrocious. I want to get your guys' opinions on the series in its entirety, starting with Game 1. One of the best World Series games, as taking my bias out of things. It was one of the best World Series games I feel like we've seen in a while.
I mean, Game 1 had all the emotions. Like, it had it making me feel like we were about to get a classic World Series. Wanted to watch every game. To get that spot where you get a grand slam just to walk it off. Like, can you ask for better from a script?
On the broken ankle, or on the damaged ankle, rather?
No, that part sucked.
Yeah.
I hated that part because I instantly knew what was going to come of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we knew the comparisons were right there for them just to do, and they did them.
Mm-hmm. Very reminiscent of Kirk Gibson in the 88 World Series against the A's. Same, hit it to the same spot. Very poetic for Dodger fans, and it sucks to say that. But I think the decision, what do you guys think about the decision to walk? They walk Mookie. Nestor Cortez in his career against Mookie Betts, 0 for 5. So I don't know. I feel like there was a guy on second and third. Obviously you set up the force at every base, but I don't know. It's tough.
I mean, yeah. Like, the issue starts with they walked to Lux in that inning, right, to start it.
Mm-hmm.
And then at that point, it just starts to unravel, and you get left the choice of, are you going Nestor Cortez? Are you going Tim Hill? Who really are you picking in this moment? And are you facing a righty? Or are you facing a lefty? It should have been the righty. Mookie sucked all game.
Yeah.
In his career, Mookie can't hit Nestor.
It felt very reminiscent, too, to put it in NBA terms, of 2018 Finals Game 1 when J.R. Smith dribbled out the ball in Game 1, because I feel like the Yankees needed that Game 1 if they wanted to compete in the series. I said going into the series, I think the Dodgers were going to win. I mean, they were just the better team on paper, and I feel like going into that series, they were the hotter team. The Yankees just looked inferior with their two-man offense, and Aaron Judge just being non-existent, and a lot of their roster just being non-existent offensively. I feel like that was a game you needed. You needed to take one of two in LA that first go around, and I feel like for it to end in that fashion, it felt just demoralizing. Where it was only Game 1, but it felt like part of it slipped away that night.
I was in the opposite viewing. Like, I really thought the Dodgers needed Game 1. I felt like the Flaherty start was going to be their best start of, like, the World Series.
Over Yamamoto?
Yeah, I was trusting Flaherty over Yamamoto, honestly. Yamamoto had been 50-50 to that point, and I know Flaherty had been too, but he was coming off a good start. And it just felt like if you were going up against Garrett Cole.
Yeah,
the storyline...
That's another thing.
Yeah, it was Garrett
You needed a Garrett Cole win.
But I had a feeling Rodon was going to pitch better than he did.
I did not. As a Giants fan, I've seen that guy enough.
I mean, it's been a lot of 50-50s, I guess. Like, Flaherty, good one game, terrible the other. Yamamoto, good one game, terrible the other. Rodon was good in the championship series, and then he wasn't good again.
I think that's just like the big difference between the Yankees and the Dodgers is that like the Dodgers were able to like survive, those bad starts that their starters had, whereas the Yankees couldn't capitalize on a good Garrett Cole start. They fell behind when there's bad starts. Like they just to not get the offense together, like that is just you don't have any ability to compete in the World Series that way, especially against the Dodgers and the $1 billion offense. Like you need to be able to generate your own momentum, and the Yankees just could not do that the entire time.
And then as we're already talking about the Rodon start, Game 2, final score, what was it? Dodgers scored 4 or 5 runs that game?
4-2.
4-2. And it wasn't even like the difference of the game was like astronomical or huge. It felt so much bigger than it was because the Yankees offense was so dead and they could not generate anything. It was the same story in game 3. The Dodgers won 4-2. Again, a 9th inning home run. But as you get into these later innings, and if you don't chip away in the beginning, 4 runs in the first inning or whenever they're scoring because of Freeman home runs, it doesn't feel like a lot in those beginning innings, but as you get towards the later innings, you're down by 4 runs. It obviously feels like a lot more.
Yeah, game 3 was 4-2 is giving a lot of justice because that was 4-0 until Verdugo hit the 2-out, 2-run shot.
Mm-hmm.
It was a shutout.
Yeah.
There was nothing happening for the Yankees all night.
And it's like to go the whole game and you just watch that box score never change. Like, that has to be demoralizing.
Mm-hmm. I will say too, this is the one time I'll give the Dodgers props. Ice Cube's performance before game 2, a lot better than Fat Joe.
Joe's.
New York, do better. You have so many more options to choose from, and you come up with Fat Joe.
It's like, were they waiting?
That was just kind of. It embodied
Symbolic.
the series. Yeah.
He also pointed right where Freddie took the first home run.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he stepped all over that mound with his Timbs.
Yep. Very New York. Of
Very
him,
New York.
The lines were. Did you see the lines were destroyed after?
Yeah.
Everything.
The field crew must have been fuming.
Well, people were saying if Garrett Cole was on the mound, he would have been in tears, demanding
he
for
would
them
have been
to
pissed off.
fix the mound before he stepped, because he stepped on the rubber, everything.
There would have been an 8-minute delay. But yeah, you got Jay-Z, Nas, the Wu-Tang Clan, all these guys, and you choose Fat Joe. Come on, New York.
It's like
You're
not
better
even,
than
like,
that.
the bottom
You're the
of
Yankees.
list. Yeah.
And then Ashanti.
Yeah.
Shanti was cool.
Ashanti was cool.
Yeah, but were they waiting to be up before they busted out like Empire State of Mind? They couldn't
I
have
feel like
Alicia Keys and Jay-Z without it.
That might have been it, but I don't know. It set the tone. It set the tone as a fan, I feel like. And then game 4, I really believed. I thought the Anthony Volpe grand slam, 1 inning after he didn't run the bases that well, after the ball got hit into right center field and he didn't even score on the play. He ended up on third base. He ended up scoring later in the inning, but I feel like him hitting that grand slam, the Yankees offense obviously showed up that game. That was the only blowout in the series, was game 4.
We talked about the run differential.
Mhm.
It's a 25-24 run differential in that World Series. The Yankees were 1 run short.
Yeah. Even that game, though, it wasn't like a blowout. The box score shows a blowout, but it was close through 8 innings when the Yankees scored.
Exploded.
Scored 5 runs in the 8th inning with a couple home runs. But I genuinely thought, obviously a lot of what ifs. Game 5 is obviously the one that we're going to talk about the most because, they had it. But there's never even been a team to come back and force game 6 after going down 3-0 in the World Series. It looked like it was going to happen. Obviously did not, which brings us to the decisive game 5. The Yankees score 5 runs the first 4 innings, right? Yeah, and then the Dodgers score 5 in the 5th. Judge finally hits a home run. Jazz finally contributes offensively. Stanton goes deep, and then the worst inning in baseball history for me personally. It was just bad.
Baffling.
Yankees,
Everything that happened was just, I could not believe it.
Who do you put the most blame on?
Cole.
I don't think it's Cole's fault.
Because that's
That run to
the
first base was
weird thing. That's
crazy.
5 unearned runs.
Yeah.
Like we were talking about before. If you were to tell the Yankees that
You're going
Cole's
to get 7 innings of 0 earned run baseball and score 5.
be up 5,
5 and lose the game. How? Genuinely, how?
I feel like the image of, obviously it starts with Aaron Judge missing the can of corn in center field.
Oh my gosh.
Just when you thought he's going to turn it around offensively with the bat. He had a nice catch the inning before on Freddie Freeman's ball into left center field. He made that catch right against the wall. And then you miss that ball in center field. That gets things started. And then I blame Volpe more for the throw to third base on the play. You're up 5 runs. Throw the ball to second base. Throw it to first base for all I care.
Even that throw to third, I feel like he could have taken a second longer to throw it so it doesn't go across the body of the runner. You don't have to rush that.
Yeah. And then obviously, I feel like the image that is going to stick with a lot of Yankees fans and even myself is going to be the ground ball to Anthony Rizzo at first base. One, he doesn't charge it. I feel like even
Rizzo
if he
could have got the bag. It was going to be a bang play.
Yeah, he could have got the bag for sure. Even if Garrett Cole, which he should have been covering first base, even if he did cover first base, it was going to be close because he didn't charge the ball. You step on first base there, inning over, 0 runs come across. That close to ending the inning. You guys are still up 5-0.
I'm looking at the win probabilities right now. It was a 93.9 after 5-0.
93.9.
After Freddie Freeman brought in the 3 runs, it was still a 24% chance for the Dodgers to win that game.
I was saying in the newsroom too, just walk Freddie. I know the bases were loaded, but he was that hot where, I mean, like I just said, in the inning before, he hit a ball that nearly went out and Judge caught it at the wall. I feel like I put the most blame on, I want to say Judge or Anthony Rizzo, honestly. I can't put it on Cole because 0 earned run. That obviously he should have covered the bag, but like he pitched.
Cole was dominant.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Like Cole did his thing.
I put it on
Tommy Kahnle.
Yeah.
How do you come in and just load the bases? Like, I mean, Tommy, the game was still 5-5.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. With 0 outs too. Yep. Didn't even.
When the Yankees scored the 1 run, I knew it wasn't enough.
Yeah.
Like it felt so obvious.
Mm-hmm.
People were talking about bunting over when Jazz came up, just bunting over. Just to get
I think he
one.
attempted.
He did. He
one,
he attempted a bunt, which just makes no sense. Like, you need more than 1 run.
Yeah.
There was 0 outs at that point.
Yeah, there's no like small balling out of that situation. Like you need to get on a roll, especially in the World Series, like the biggest moment. It's like you'd have to like create your own momentum, like your own energy, and the Yankees were very.
And the Yankees had it.
That.
They had it in the bag. They were going back to LA.
We were gonna have Rodon. It's a legacy game.
There should be a game 6 tonight. Nope. I feel like I gotta put the most blame on Judge. He's the captain of the Yankees. He didn't show up all postseason offensively with the bat. You can't. He hits 1 home run in the first inning, but to miss that ball, yeah,
it's the most of like too little, too late.
Yep.
Especially was like, I mean, that was like the marquee. That's the crazy thing about this World Series, that it was like the marquee series. Ohtani, Judge,
both of them were.
Yeah, neither of them. Yeah, Ohtani wasn't a factor at all in the World Series. Judge was terrible.
I was just telling him at a certain point, if we had gotten to Game 6, is there any sort of thought in Dave Roberts' head to just bench Ohtani? Say it's an injury. His bats were terrible. He was not competitive. He was swinging off the plate at everything. When he did put it in play, it was like the laziest pop-ups you've ever seen.
I mean, as Angel fans, that was the Ohtani I was the most familiar with. Is big moment Ohtani wanting to make it a big moment and just waving at everything.
He was just like...
How many big moments was he in?
Few, but in those few moments, he did the exact same thing he did in the World Series.
All right.
I would have benched him.
I feel like it's an easier route because he did have the injury to blame it on that. Obviously, more than like Judge in this situation, but I still don't feel like they'd take the bat out of his hands.
You can't take it out of his hands, but that's just the thing. It's so hard. Like he was worse than Aaron Judge in the World Series. It wasn't even close. It was like the flirting versus harassment thing.
Yeah.
Aaron Judge had like, I think, a 200 batting average. Ohtani had a 100.
Yeah.
It wasn't even a contest.
I got my list of Yankees that I want to call out because they've just ruined not only the week, the rest of 2024. This is arguably the worst sports year for me. It's honestly a repeat of 2020. The Niners lose to the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, and then the Dodgers win the World Series, even though the last one wasn't really real. But started out, Garrett Cole, cover the bag. Pitcher fielding drills are going to go through the roof in the next week at high schools, covering the bag. Jake Cousins, I want to call him out. Nestor Cortez, for obvious reasons. Carlos Rodon. I know Yankees fans hate that signing. Anthony Rizzo. That entire 2016 Cubs team that's still in the league right now, they are washed, especially in the World Series. He went 2 for 16, hit 125, 0 RBIs, 1 run. didn't cover the bag as well. I'd say, yeah, him and Chris Bryant, Javi Baez, they are washed.
Wasn't Schwarber on that team?
Schwarber was on that team.
You're right.
Yeah.
Schwarber was
He
on
didn't
that
the
team.
only one.
He didn't play like the entire 2016 season until the World Series, right? He got hurt like in spring training or opening day. All right, I forgot about that.
Yeah, he was like the series hero because of that.
Schwarber.
All right, yeah, my bad.
He's the only one with aura left from the 16 team. But it took all their energy to break the Cubs curse, and then ever since then.
Yeah. Jazz Chisholm, you're on the cover of MLB The Show.
Worst cover athlete.
Worst cover athlete of all time.
Weirdest
You're
decision.
supposed to be that guy. They traded for you at the deadline. You go 5 for 21, hit 238, 1 RBI on the solo shot in Game 5.
They don't boo
Lackluster. Yeah, they don't boo bums. Finally, Aaron Judge. Arson Judge, as some people may know him. The one time you have to redeem yourself. All would be forgiven for using the Giants as leverage in 2022 if you were to just beat the Dodgers in the World Series. You grew up a Giants fan. You're on the Yankees right now. The one thing that's hitting your legacy right now is that you don't have a ring. You can't be a Yankees legend without winning a ring. It's like the Lakers. You gotta perform. You go 4 for 18, hit 222 with 3 RBIs, 1 home run. Game 5 makes it look a lot better than it was, and it's not even great numbers. You don't even deserve to wear those pinstripes. You should go out there with a blank white Yankees jersey next year. You're going to win your AL MVP opening day at Yankee Stadium, and you're going to get booed. That's what I would do. I wouldn't boo him in the series coming up to bat Game 5 because obviously you got to try everything you can as a fan if you're in the stadium to switch the momentum. But when you win that MVP award for the regular season for hitting 57 home runs or whatever it was, I hope you get booed because that was atrocious. That's what I got to say about that series.
It's got to just be a nightmare in his head at this point.
Yeah.
Like,
It's like crazy to think in his position, I wouldn't want to walk down like New York, like a
no,
street
I
in
wouldn't
New
want to be
York.
outside.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be outside.
I mean, he's been blocking like everyone on Twitter.
Yeah, wasn't
For the-
Joey
for the
Gallo
AL
who, didn't want to
MVP
walk outside?
to turn off his comments on Instagram, you know it's bad.
He's getting cooked and deservingly so.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it honestly, like it's gonna erase that MVP season, and like at least in the memories of him and the fans, like the only thing anyone's gonna think about is that series.
I mean, look at Clayton Kershaw. I hold that guy very accountable for his postseason atrocities. It's
No, like Judge can legitimately one up himself next season, which like no downplaying his season this year. It was like a top 5 all-time season.
And he gets
from
compared
a right-handed
to-
hitter.
yeah, he gets compared to the closest thing as Barry Bonds as
I mean,
anyone.
it's a top Barry
Yeah.
Bonds no playoff legacy.
That's true.
Yeah.
So
he's got one.
it's
He's
gonna be
got
that
one home
thing.
run in the playoffs, like that people remember.
Judge will keep doing this, and people will say, "What did he do in October? What is he going to do in October?" And it's just going to be that story until he does something different.
And then to drop the fly ball too.
That was the Bob Nightingale curse.
Yeah.
Nightingale tweeted out that the Yankees are winning. Aaron Judge just played great defense tonight, and then next inning.
Didn't he tweet it was over after they went up 3-0 too?
Yeah.
All right, that's
Well, Talking Yankees tweeted they won Game 1.
Have you guys seen like the live stream from the John Boy stream from Game 1? Like they like live stream the game. Like as soon as the Freddie home run hits, just all the air in the room gets sucked out.
Worst trend in sports media: getting a warehouse and watching a game that you're gambling on.
yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the only value that stream has is just I get to look at that one clip of all of them. Just like
Just
5
all of
grown
them.
men's hearts breaking at once.
Moving on from the Yankees and what they did wrong to the Dodgers and what they did right. Freddie Freeman, Willie Mays World Series MVP award winner, homered in 4 of the 5 games in the series, had that run of 6 straight games in a World Series with a home run. Pretty much solidifies him as a
First ballot
Hall of Famer. Yeah, without a question.
I mean, you look at the list. The only people above him not in the Hall, Albert Pujols. That's not
coming.
even a question.
Yeah.
Miguel Cabrera, not even a
Coming.
question.
Mhm.
Joey Votto, shouldn't be a question. I see people question it a little more. Votto's a Hall of Famer.
He deserves it.
That one's more on the fence than people think.
I think he's a Hall of Famer. If you look at the
I
average,
think so too, but
yeah,
I think it's
on the fence.
on the
100%.
fence.
Goldschmidt, also on the fence, but
Like 5 years
realistically
ago,
can get there. I think Goldschmidt will get there.
Yeah.
Mark McGuire, steroids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keith Hernandez. That's your one. Keith Hernandez has 0.4 less WAR than Freddie Freeman. Freddie Freeman's going to keep eclipsing it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then John Olerud. That's the only people not in the Hall that are in his territory. Freddie Freeman's a Hall of Famer.
Yep.
Deservingly so. I won't downplay it. I don't like Freddie Freeman.
Don't like Freddie?
No.
Or I get why.
The Ronald
the
Acuna
Acuna
stuff
situation.
will stand with me forever.
Yeah.
Why would you wipe that man's eye black off?
Yeah. We don't forget on T-Dup.
We don't forget.
Keep receipts.
And then Will Smith.
For a 5th straight year, a Will Smith has won the World Series.
What
Yeah.
else happened for Will Smith?
Yeah, cooler news. San Jose Sharks have won 3 straight games after losing their first 9. Will Smith not only scored his first NHL goal last night, he scored his second right after. 3 wins in a row. Macklin comes back. Sharks might make the playoffs. Who knows? Just throwing it out there.
Those 3 wins are more impressive than
The 5 World Series.
rings.
I agree.
Honestly.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Talk about overcoming adversity.
Yep. I think we're done with the World Series. I think we're ready to push the 2024 season into the past.
Yeah.
Never talk about it again.
Now it's the talking points.
Off season, here we go. Juan Soto, that's the biggest question. Mark, where do you guys have him landing?
It's so tough.
I think he leaves
I think
now.
he goes to like the Padres.
Padres.
I just
I
think
wouldn't
he's going
mind
to go
it.
back.
I would not mind him
Yeah.
coming back to the NL West as long as it means the Dodgers do not advance further and win another World Series.
Well, that's where I thought he was going to go, is the Dodgers. And then there's the Heyman report.
I don't
that he
think
was
that
going to the
that would be
Dodgers.
the weakest move in sports.
Well,
that,
Passan-
that
that's-
would trump KD going to the Warriors, I think.
Passan already confirmed it wasn't going to happen. So unless he just
I don't
doesn't
think
have
he
his
would do
sources.
that. I don't think Soto would do that either.
He said he wanted to play with Ohtani. That was like the main point. He's a Boris client. He's going to go after money.
People say things.
But does Juan Soto be on a does he want to be on a contender?
I feel like he does, but he's also won a ring. I think he's gonna go wherever the highest bidder is. I feel like the Mets honestly have a solid chance of luring him, especially because of the way they played at the end of the season. They obviously made it all the way to the NLCS. At the beginning of the year, if you were to tell me, I would have not thought Juan Soto would leave the Yankees for the Mets, but I feel like it's a definite possibility. I'm not going to be an unrealistic Giants fan right now. I'll restrain.
You guys
it's
are going to
taking
go after him.
Yeah, we're going to
Yeah.
definitely offer him a contract. Who wouldn't? But I've gotten my hopes up so much for Judge in 2022. That one, we had him for like 6 minutes, kind of, with the whole arson thing. Last year, we were one of the 3 finalists for Ohtani. I didn't think that one was going to happen as much, but which brings me to another point. Buster Posey, new president of baseball operations for the Giants. And I feel like I love this personally. Obviously, he's my favorite baseball player of all time. But I feel like for Buster, he's one of us. I feel like him seeing the Dodgers win the World Series pisses him off like it pisses off Giants fans. I feel like for Farhan Zaidi for the past 5 years,
It didn't matter.
it didn't matter. He used to work for the Dodgers. He was never one of us. He was never man. I think Posey's going to be pissed off. I mean, who wouldn't if you're a Giants fan? You've seen them now win the division 11 out of the past 12 years. Yeah. I'd give Juan Soto a blank check, though. I think he's worth $700 million. I think he's worth the same as Ohtani. He's like, 5 years younger than him? I
Any
think he's the best
team-
pure hitter in baseball, to be honest.
If you're an actual contender in this thing and you draw yourself out at the money, you've just let yourself down.
Yeah.
Like, at a certain point, you just got to admit you spend everything.
Yeah.
And if he chooses to not go to you, that's okay. But
And money wins.
money wins.
Look what happened. $1.2 billion. They won the World Series.
Mhm.
To whose surprise? Yeah.
What
And
are
I
those-
feel like for the Giants, too, you got to overpay.
I have 3 teams that I want to land him.
Okay.
I don't think any of them make sense, but I would love it. Blue Jays.
The Blue Jays get linked to every like big
Yeah.
free
They
agent
want a big
contract.
free
They
agent.
do want to be
They
on
want a
somebody.
big free agent, but they're also close to being in a rebuild. But they kept Vlad. They still have Bo.
Yeah.
Like, get Juan Soto. Solidify your team. Phillies.
You think he leaves within the division?
I don't know. Probably not. I don't think
Yeah.
he cares. It's a Boris client. Like, it doesn't matter about diplomacy at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't. Yeah, I don't think he's weighing anybody's feelings.
The Phillies.
That's one personally. Again, I'm to the point where anybody but the Dodgers, but I really want him to go to the Phillies. I've never been really a Bryce Harper fan.
I want to see it again.
I'm not really a Phillies guy, so that's
Okay.
one that would be near the bottom of my list. Yeah.
Atlanta.
I wouldn't mind that.
I can see it.
I think it'd make sense for those teams. Like all three are teams that are coming off down years from expectations wise. Go out and make a splash. Supplement your roster of the best player in baseball.
Yeah, Atlanta already has the foundation too.
Yeah.
It really is just like one marquee piece.
And I feel like whatever team he goes to, they become automatic
Contenders.
Yeah, contenders.
Like he could join a team that missed the playoffs this year, and I think they're a contender.
Juan Soto to Detroit. That'd be fun.
That would be so much fun.
I
Soto
think
and
there's
John
about
Noel.
a 1% chance of that happening. Probably less than that.
Get him on the guards.
Yeah.
Get him on the guards.
Do you guys think the Guardians would have given the Dodgers a better fight than the Yankees did?
I hated the way people talked about the Guardians this year. That they're just some like fluky team. They have like the second most wins in the league. Like the Guardians were a good baseball team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this was like it was like the Twilight Zone year where like the AL Central was all of a sudden like one of the
Good.
top divisions.
Yeah.
I mean, the Guardians rode their bullpen, but that's what teams do. The Royals rode a bullpen. There's that Rockies team that rode a bullpen.
I mean, that's becoming more of like the practice anyway, especially like if you're considering like a postseason team, like the strength of the bullpen is like
It's all that matters.
It's equivalent to the batters. I mean,
that's how
again,
the Dodgers got there.
Yeah.
I mean, again, Honeywell. I feel like that's someone who didn't
Exactly.
needs a little bit of credit. The man literally sacrificed his arm for the bullpen. 50 pitches is insane in an inning.
I think they would have given him a good fight, though.
I think so too.
It just was all down to J Ram. He never got hot.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing with your stars. They gotta put together those same regular season numbers. That's how we define legacies, especially in baseball. In all sports, really, but yeah, I think they could have pushed him at least 6 games. Yeah. Get the series back to LA. Yeah.
I think they would have had it wrapped in Cleveland.
I would have liked to see that.
1-3 straight.
Yeah.
That would have been nice.
That would have been nice.
Yeah, in 5 the other way around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's move over to the winners of the offseason. Jack, we did it.
We did it.
We're the
Hang
talking
banner.
point of baseball. Hang the banner.
First move of the offseason.
One day in, Angels already won. Jorge Soler,
Giants legend.
40 home runs.
I'm stoked. We should have made this move years ago. 2 free agent cycles ago.
This move does not push needles for me at all. This move does nothing.
There's a lot of moves that need to be made to push a needle with the Angels.
I mean, the rumor is the Angels are going all in again this offseason. We're going to make a lot of moves. I've also heard we're spending no money.
Yeah.
We already have said we're not targeting Juan Soto. We won't target any of the top arms on the market. So
what are we doing? What are we doing?
we're going to get Jorge Soler's. And don't forget, big trade. Cash considerations going the other way. Scott Kingery.
Let's go.
Another number 1 overall pick to join the Angels roster of misfits. Another Phillies number 1 overall pick.
We keep collecting them. I mean, it's so Moniak should be good. We have a lot of players that
Moniak
should
is
be
not going to be good. He's a strikeout hole in his swing. I love him. I love the Angels, but
It's tough.
this does not do anything for me.
It's like we don't have any development staff that can fix anyone's problems. That's the problem with us being the island of misfit toys, is that we should have someone who can like turn that into something productive, and we don't. We have no coaching staff that can do that. We fired the AAA pitching staff that fixed Reed Detmers. That's Trevor Hoffman just walked through and just started kicking computers over and got rid of the analytics department in AAA. Like,
Start over and move to Long Beach.
We're the little brothers, as everyone says, but the Giants brought in our GM's little brother.
Yep.
Zach Manassian.
What can I expect if he's anything related to his brother?
I mean,
Perry?
I think Perry Manassian is actually a smart baseball mind. I think he's handcuffed.
Buster's
Buster's
going to be pulling the strings.
Like,
though.
if I were Perry Manassian, I would not want to be attached to this Angels team as a GM. And maybe it was his only option, but I mean, he's made good moves, realistically. He got rid of Rysel when he needed to. I can't remember if he handed out the contract to Rysel.
yeah, I'm not sure how that.
But realistically, Manassian's done what he can with a handcuffed team.
Yeah,
he can't make any.
When did he come in?
He came in 4 years ago, I think. Now he was the person who did the pitcher draft class.
You mean the guy who did not trade Shohei Ohtani?
Yes, he did not.
You
trade
mean the
Ohtani.
guy who did not trade Mike Trout?
He was told he wasn't allowed to trade Ohtani.
That's
though.
true. That's
And the
Artie
Mike
Moreno
Trout-
Yeah, that
all
seems
over
like
it.
more of an ownership.
The Mike
decision.
Trout contract was already signed at that point and dotted. No one was touching that Trout contract as soon as it was signed.
Yeah.
Like, the only way you're moving on with Trout is you're gonna eat everything because Trout is a whole of himself. It's the same thing you have to do for Rendon.
Rendon's
a bench player
I'm not
this
gonna
year.
get started
He's a
on
bench
Rendon.
player this year. It's confirmed.
I think you guys are gonna go out and sign Alex Bregman. That's my prediction. I feel like that's an Angels signing.
It is Angel sign. If we're not going,
It feels very Anthony Rendon
2.0.
Yeah.
especially in Artie Moreno is the most rage-based owner that I can think of. And like that's where Rendon came from. Is the first place he felt slighted in the previous season and signed Rendon, and that should have worked, and it didn't. And if Ohtani going to the Dodgers and winning year one is like enough of a motivator for him to like rage sign, like I can see it.
It's got to motivate both our teams.
It needs to.
It's got to motivate the Padres. That's another thing I got to bring up. The Padres are the team I blame the most. They had the Dodgers. They had them.
Padres would have gone all the way. Padres would have beat the Yankees for sure.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tough year. And we also lost another great to retirement. Bob.
Costas.
I don't want to pronounce it wrong. Bob Costas, who gave us a gem of a quote.
He ended his before you give out that quote.
Yeah.
Your opinions on that series, the Yankees-Royals series. It was a tough listen.
I honestly didn't watch it.
It was a tough listen.
I mean, he's old.
He
Old.
is.
He's whimsical. He likes telling stories. He has that
But
sing-songy
there's a lot
tone.
of good announcers in Major League Baseball that are old, that have been old,
I mean, who's
that like to ramble.
The Yankees commentator also just retired. John
Yeah.
Sterling, right?
The radio one. They
Yeah.
still got John Sterling.
Mm-hmm.
Was Costas? I mean, because he wasn't even like he doesn't call baseball regularly beyond the postseason. He hasn't for like years.
Yeah, he's covered a lot of things, whether it was the Olympics. He was on the call for Michael Jordan's last shot against the Jazz, the push off. But yeah, an iconic sports voice. One call more iconic than maybe all of his other ones. Maddie, if you wanna share it with us.
Strope is on his way out, pointing toward the heavens. We can only ask or wonder that he is asking some departed relative for forgiveness for this atrocious performance. One of the most iconic moments in baseball for me. You got Pedro Strop just like straight up praying after. I
He
think
just on Stanton too throughout the entire postseason. Stanton was the only one producing in that ALDS.
what was the line he had about Stanton running?
Was that
He's
Denver?
like a shell of himself.
Yeah.
Like he can't run whatsoever.
What did Pedro Strop even do in that game? I don't even know. I don't think he probably deserved that much.
No, I can't imagine that
Vitriol.
was a disaster. Like, no matter how bad whatever pitching performance that was, that's the most out of pocket specific thing for an announcer to say.
Asking some departed relative for forgiveness.
It's so eloquent. It's so well like spoken.
I don't even think
It's
it was a
such an
postseason
insult.
game. I think it was like an
regular
MLB Network Friday night showcase game. It was Friday night in Cincinnati. Wild.
Did he was that off the cuff? Was he sitting on that for like a minute?
Oh,
Like, I'm
he
gonna
had
bring up
that
a departed relative.
He knew that so many MLB players pray when they leave or come in. And he's like, "This is it. This is it."
Man. We love you, Bob
Stroke.
Costas. Enjoy retirement.
Go honestly, like voice of like sports childhood for sure. Voice of like my childhood, like him and Vince Scully. Like those are like the sports announcer voices I think of. I guess Joe Buck.
I honestly like Joe Buck more than Joe Davis.
I
hate having the Dodgers play-by-play announcer do the World Series and the NLDS, NLCS.
Yeah, can we talk about how weird that is? Like,
Yeah.
I get that it's Fox. I get that there's TV like rights and all that, but he could have called literally anything else. Like have Fox take the other games.
Bring back Joe Buck.
Bring back Joe Buck.
He could do Monday Night Football and still work for Fox. I mean, get it done. I got a question for you guys. Are the Dodgers a dynasty?
At this point, no.
No.
2's
not a dynasty.
They're not a
And
dynasty,
even the
but they
2?
will
And it's not even
be.
2 with this like this.
You don't
same
think
team.
the Dodgers are getting back to the World Series in the next 5 years?
Oh yeah, I haven't even said that take yet.
My bad. My bad.
Spoiled
Sorry to leak the hot take.
I think the Dodgers are as close to being a dynasty as a dynasty gets. I don't think they make it to another World Series in the next 5 years.
You got to win 3 to be a dynasty. I feel like that's how it is in all sports.
We looked this up though, and the dynasties it showed were teams that have won 2.
That's not right though.
But
2's not a dynasty. 2 is a nice run.
Would you
I
consider
don't
the 2004 to 2007 era for the Red Sox a dynasty?
They won 2.
They won 2.
I
But
don't
the one
think
they
so.
won was the longest in baseball history. They broke the curse. And
No,
then they
bro,
won a
you
second
don't-
one.
I don't-
bonus points for breaking curses.
I would think of the 13 and was it 17, 18? The Red Sox. Actually, that's not even. No, I wouldn't
That's
consider the
not
Red
a
Sox a
dynasty.
dynasty.
That's even more years.
I think that's just a consistently good team. I
Exactly.
wouldn't call that a dynasty.
I think the last 3 true dynasties in baseball, the 2010 through 14 Giants, 3 and 5 years, because it's 3.
Mm-hmm.
The late 90s Yankees and the 70s A's, because they all won 3 or more.
Yeah, the Yankees and A's three-peated.
Yeah.
The Giants have a little bit of split time, but you can find
3
your way to
and
weasel it
5
in. You can
years.
weasel it in.
3
It's a
and
little-
5
it's a
years.
different
This feels like a way to
comparison.
prop up the Giants again.
3 and 5 years. We didn't add any other MVPs midway through our dynasty like the Dodgers. Oh, we got to go add Shohei. 2 MVPs.
I don't-
Mookie and Freddie aren't enough.
I don't think they're a dynasty, and I don't think you're at threat of them winning another World Series.
I also think there needs to be, I mean, like you said, like just add like tagging on MVPs and like shifting the team around so much. I think that's less dynastic than like a consistent
Core.
consistent
That
core winning
Giants
all those
core
teams.
was the same group of guys.
Yeah,
throughout.
Giants core, the Yankees
Posey,
core.
Belt, Crawford, Pablo.
The Astros
Bumgarner.
only won the one World Series while cheating.
Yeah,
Yeah, they've,
2017 and 2022. I don't
And the
consider that a
2020
dynasty.
Well,
I
yeah, the
don't consider that
2022
dynasty.
team wasn't the same core.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's basically a whole new team. That was
It's
just
the
Altuve.
same as the Dodgers,
Yeah.
basically. It's that same kind of gap. I don't think that's a dynasty. Participating in the playoffs 12 years and winning 2 times is not a dynasty.
Yeah, it's like the Braves. The Braves have won the East like
Yeah, they
1,000 times in
dominated
a
the
row.
90s, but they won 1,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, they don't like you have less to show for it. It's like
That's true.
I mean, like pennant banners are like
Don't matter.
baseball pennant
Second
banners are the least
place.
significant award in like any sport.
That's true. They're not a dynasty.
They're
I'll
not
hold
a
my hands
dynasty.
up. They're not a dynasty. And they
Not
won't
on
make the
this
World
show, they're
Series.
not.
They won't make the World Series again in the next 5 years.
Do we want to drop our 2025 World Series predictions just right now, just to throw them out
I
there?
haven't even thought of
Oh,
this.
I could not have been wronger about my 2024 predictions. Actually, I said the Yankees would be in it, but I also said they would lose either way, so I was half right. But I said the Phillies would win and the Dodgers would be first round exits. So
I had Guardians.
I
I'm
said
on
the
record
Dodgers
being
would be-
wrong.
Guardians?
Guardians, Phillies is what I had.
I'd love to see the Orioles make it over the hump. Pulling
just
for
don't think
former
it.
dirtbag Brandon Hyde. I want them to succeed. I want them to win a singular playoff game. I hope it happens. I think the Yankees regress because I think Soto's leaving. So I think the Orioles will win the AL East next year. Yeah, I'm just going to throw it out. Orioles 2025 World Series champions 2 days after this World Series.
Off
my
the
pick.
cuff, Texas Rangers.
Oh, yeah, Bochy.
I think the Texas Rangers
Every
are
other
gonna
year.
bounce back this year. Yeah.
Bochy will miss the playoffs. Win
DeGrom
the
back
World
next
Series.
year. Max Scherzer back next year. Kumar Rocker, first full MLB season.
I
Wyatt
love that
Langford.
pick. I love it.
Juan Soto. Go to the Rangers.
Wouldn't mind it.
That would be crazy.
That would be cool.
That would be wild.
And
I
it would
be
make sense. They
terrified
got
of
the
that
tax
as an
breaks.
Angels fan.
Go to
Yeah.
Texas.
It's hard not to feel good about the Phillies. Like I felt good about the Phillies this year, and I got proven wrong. But I don't have it in my heart not to to doubt them.
Did you hear what their GM said right after their season ended, though? He
I did
basically said, like, we're not going to really make any moves. Like, he's
Do
like,
they need to?
I don't think they need
I
to
know,
make moves.
but-
I think they just need to put it together.
yeah, so you're just going to run it back?
I think so.
If you're a team that's going to run it back, they're in the situation to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe I'm not actually as high on the Phillies as you are, though.
No,
Trey Turner's kind of falling apart.
that's true.
And they still got him for
And they
what,
still got
like,
him
He's-
long
he's
term.
locked in.
He's locked in, and he's
Yeah.
deteriorating fast. Brandon Marsh was terrible down the stretch. JT Realmuto's not getting younger. He's played a lot of years already in those knees. So then it's Bryce Harper's team.
It is. I have a lot of
Also,
faith in Bryce Harper, I'll
Castellanos'
be honest.
contract is going to age very poorly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Schwarber is the most true outcome player. He's going to give you that 400 on base and hit some bombs. But
Yeah.
are we really high on Schwarber anymore in terms of being an impact player?
as soon as the postseason starts, he's number one impact player. I agree. I think she's shaky in the regular season, but there's like some switch that turns on with him in the postseason.
You're going to need Aaron Nola and Zach Wheeler to do what they do every year and be
Yeah.
the best one, too.
It feels like they've wasted a lot of prime.
That window's
years.
closing.
Yeah, it's closing, which is tough. But we'll see. We'll wrap it up with a question I got for the Long Beach current management. Why in the world are we covering the Dodgers World Series parade? It doesn't make any sense to me. I want to get your guys' take. I'm going to throw it out there. The Dodgers do not host any sort of CSULB night, alumni night, nothing. The Angels do. We do not graduate at Dodger Stadium. We graduate at Angel Stadium.
Where were
This
the
is
Angels?
not Long Beach centric enough to me.
What team was threatening to move their stadium to Long Beach? It wasn't the Dodgers.
It was the Angels.
It was the Angels.
Yeah, I don't know if that's
A team falling apart and on the verge of collapse.
But they looked to
an
Long Beach
illegal
for
lawsuit.
that safe place. They thought
Long Beach is a
was
safe haven.
They knew they'd be accepted here.
I don't think Dodgers coverage is needed. What does it have to do with our school? We don't cover.
It's true.
I wasn't here when the Rams won it, but was there Rams coverage when the Rams won the Super
I
Bowl?
don't think I was here.
I wasn't here either.
All right.
We did cover the Dodgers winning the World Series in 2020.
I was definitely not here for that.
I know that.
Yeah.
I've seen the pages, so.
I saw this meme where it was like when the World Series started that it was like Long Beach people, like Long Beach residents normally, and it's like we hate LA, we're not part of LA, we're our own thing. And it's as soon as the Dodgers are in the playoffs and it's just decked out in blue.
I get it's Los Angeles County, but
It's opportunistic. It
Yeah.
feels opportunistic.
yeah, I don't like it. I don't like it. That's my opinion on it. Again, the Mickey Mouse era has kind of come to an end.
That's what hurts. Is I felt this way about the Rangers because I wanted to be salty last year that the Rangers won, but they just won. They were just the best team. The Dodgers, $1 billion aside, like they just won. They were just the best team.
I don't feel like they're the best team.
Yeah, I feel like they.
I mean, over the Yankees they were. Again, I still think Padres, if they got over that hump, they would have gone all the way.
I think so too. I think
The American League just sucked.
it did.
It just flat out sucked.
The AL Central was good, but
Everyone
the AL
else was
Central's
bad.
good.
You know it's a down
Yeah.
year.
The Astros didn't feel the same.
Like,
That whole AL West.
Yeah, that's so weird. Like the AL West and the Central just flipped, like their reputations. The West has been like a powerhouse in the American League, and it was just like abysmal.
it's not a Mickey Mouse World Series, but I won't give them their congratulations.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely not.
I'm not gonna feel good about
Like,
it.
you got to win in a year where I feel like it's deserving. It was a gentleman's sweep.
It only took $1 billion.
Most
Three-
underwhelming World Series.
Yeah.
Three MVPs. That's another thing. Is like baseball doesn't really have like big threes. You know, like you don't get like you don't get three big players on the same
I
roster all
know.
that
Two
often.
two generational Hall of Fame talents on the same team is pretty rare. To have three. And
With
then-
Clayton Kershaw and the
Yeah.
highest paid pitcher in baseball
Yeah.
on
Like
that team.
Like that was what was unique about this series, like amongst all the other like marquee aspects, was that like both teams had like the big three in that way, like Stanton, Judge, Soto. I don't think it's this. I don't think they're as
That
good
is
as
true.
the Dodgers' big three, but
The
still.
Yankees have 3 Hall of Famers.
Is Stanton the Hall of Famer?
Stanton, when he hits 500, will be a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, 500 punches the ticket. Like,
Yeah.
no matter
He'll be
what.
like one of the only
He's
clean
pretty
players.
decent postseason performer.
He has an MVP.
Yeah, his prime was, and if you take him as a DH, which that's
They
what
will.
he is,
Yeah.
yeah, it's tough. We're gonna continue to be salty. I don't care. We're consistent.
Yeah, I've been avoiding Twitter since the World Series happened. I can't see the congratulations.
I unfollowed the MLB on Instagram. I'll follow him back in a couple months. I can't.
The
Decoy post.
That was awful. That was terrible.
I
The
do not
decoy
care
post.
about Shohei Ohtani's dog.
Decoy looked faded, though. Did you see the photos? He looked faded post World Series. I'm just saying. I don't know.
Whack.
I don't know what they're
What's going
feeding
on
that dog.
in that clubhouse.
Yeah. Animal abuse. Look into it.
Yep.
MLB.
Book it.
Just ending with allegations.
And give Ipe his ring.
Yep.
Honestly,
He deserves
He
it.
set the tone.
does he get the ring? He was a team employee.
You know who does
Yeah.
get a ring? Miguel Vargas on the 121 loss White Sox. That's a World Series ring.
Yep.
And Taylor Trammell, who was in the minor leagues for the Yankees and Dodgers.
Yeah.
Guaranteed World Series winner. But that's all the time we have. Thank you for joining us, Jack. Thank you so much for joining us for Season 4, Episode 11 of Teed Up. Thank you to our video editor and producer, Aiden Swanepoel, and our multimedia producer, Elle Nicklin. If you want to stay up to date on the latest in Long Beach State sports, check out our website at lbcurrent.com. and follow us on socials at LB Current. Thanks so much for listening, and see you later.